All right. We are ready to go here. So, I'm nearly finished with the little mini project we've been taking on here, which is building out the infrastructure, the overlays basically for the stream. So apparently you can hire somebody on Fiverr to do this, and they'll customize it with your logo and stuff like that, you know, for pretty cheap. But and that would have been a nice time saver, but I'm very happy with the outcome of doing this ourselves, because, you know, it's very custom and making use of iClone and character creator and stuff like that. It just makes sense. Puts our own stamp on it. So we've got our little privacy thing here that we can pop up if we need to. That was the first thing we designed. We've got the intro, which you saw a version of if you were here at the very beginning of the stream. And that has the music in place now, which is the C64 sounding SID thing. So, and it's the male restroom etiquette music, but with that SID composition. Then we've got the break screen. I'm going to switch over to that. I can't remember if my microphone is active on this or not, but I'll switch over to it just for a moment so you can see what it looks like. But if I need to go on a break, this is what will pop up, and this is what we designed most recently on the stream. And yeah, I think I just set it to where my microphone isn't even active when that screen is on. So what else is there? Oh, there's the end. So the ending is complete except for the music. So I've got some music in there that plays, but that's not the final music. So if you remember, what we talked about on here was I really wanted to use Vera Lynn's, I believe the song originally was put out there in 1939. Vera Lynn, We'll Meet Again. It's been used a lot. It was covered by a group, basically a male quartet group, shortly after that, called the Ink Spots. That's my favorite rendition of it, although the original's quite good too. So, well, I knew better than to think that I could get away with just using that recording. Now, honestly, I probably could get away with it, but this, you know, any use of it would demonetize the stream. Like, not in any kind of way that would hurt the channel, but just, it would be a flag to deal with. So I thought, well, then I'll do a cover. I'll do my own version of the song, and I had kind of this whole arrangement in mind for it and everything. So being a musician, I wanted to make sure that I would do that above board and legally and all that. So I investigated into licensing that song from 1939. So what is that, 85 years old? To just licensing to be able to do a cover on it for, essentially for use in the stream, which is, you know, I suppose that at any point the stream could blow up, but it's never going to be viewed by like millions, right? Never in a million years. Well, basically, to properly license that song in order to record a cover tune and put it out onto YouTube is, and this is for the minimum number of viewers, like this is saying no more than 1,000 total views. And I'm figuring I'm going to want to use this on the end of every stream, right? So that would take quite a few streams to get there. But that's like a bare minimum. So you have to get a digital download license, that's required. And then you have to kind of declare, you have to declare how many views your usage on YouTube is going to get. You just estimate. And then if later on you exceed that amount, then it's kind of an honor system thing. You go back and you pay for more license. And that part of the ongoing part is not terribly expensive. But the initial fee to set it up and basically just begin getting the license for recording a cover song that's going to go on YouTube is north of $300 US. You know, I mean, does that bankrupt me? No, but that's just, like, never break even on that. Especially if I also have to keep up with paying, you know, some much smaller amount than that per, you know, however many thousand views over the course of time. For as long as I keep it up. That's the legal way to do it. I just couldn't make the math work on that. Actually, it would be less expensive, much less expensive, for me to create and record the cover tune and just release it through my music distribution, like as an artist. You don't pay that $300, the $299 direct for setting it up on YouTube. Your distributor takes care of YouTube Content ID, even for cover tunes. And then a distributor takes care of routing royalties to the appropriate parties, whoever the songwriters were. So it just made no sense. So I thought, well, if I'm going to have to release it as a proper, you know, tune through a distributor, then why not just do an original song? So I thought, well, I could write an original song that is in the vibe of the Ink Spots type of thing. Using the vocoder sound instead to make it a little bit more modern, a little bit more sci-fi sounding. But as far as the melody and the lyric and the chord progression and everything, I could write an original song, but using that type of style. Another really good song from that era that the Ink Spots did is, I think it might be called We 3. And again, it was used by Fallout in their soundtrack, and it's been used in other places as well. Beautiful little song, and it's got that kind of, you know, songs from that era, they really knew how to write songs. I mean, they're just beautiful, and they're typically pretty short, and they've got this kind of a beautiful jazz-infused chords and stuff. Stardust is another great one from that time. Cheek to Cheek, which I don't remember who wrote that, but I think it was Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers made it famous in some movie of that era. Anyway, those songs are just really appealing to me. So I ended up doing so. So basically between last stream and now, I wrote, performed, and recorded, and it's like ready to mix. The song clocks in right at 2 minutes. It's fairly simple instrumentation. There's kind of walking bass and a little bit of synth in the background to fill things out, and then the lead vocal with the vocoder. And then I did some piano licks kind of as an answering to the lead line thing. And I did those in kind of a style of let's say a calmed down Oscar Peterson. If you know Oscar Peterson's work at all, jazz piano player, he's just a master. But he's known for playing like these really fast and ridiculously hard jazz riffs. Well, I don't have chops for that. But, you know, his style essentially is blues. So I was able to do something there that I'm really happy with. So anyway, I'm going to produce that song and release it on an EP. So I need to take it through that process and get it copyrighted and all that. And once I've done so, then I can tack it onto that end thing on the stream. And I'll probably use it I'll probably use it prominently at some point in the soundtrack of the Fallout 4 based production that I've got coming up in the future. So anyway, that's the story of that song. So today we're going to dive into some iClone. We're going to kind of pick up. There's a project, the active short that I've been working on. I took a brief break from it to work on this stream infrastructure stuff. So I kind of need to get reoriented to it and kind of get back on track here. So I've got this Word document that I refer to that is kind of where I was tracking the iClone project files that are used for various parts of it and all that. And this is a fairly short song. It's maybe 4.5 minutes, something like that. This is a music video, but there's a narrative to the story. And it's going to be very stylized, though the stylizing is not going to take place in iClone itself. It's going to be something that's applied to the frames of the film after they've been rendered. There's actually two different styles. You know, the main characters in this are a guy and a girl, and they each come from, let's say, different worlds. And so the renders, the post-production for each of their worlds is going to be different, but in the end they come together. So anyway, we don't need to worry too much about that within iClone, because again, it all happens in post. But we do need to have all the action play out in iClone. So let's see here. The first one we've got is titled "Guy Looks Son." This is one of the early shots in the film. It's very short, and let's see. What cameras we have here. Okay, so there's a shot of him looking at this scene from behind. And then there's another where the camera's in front. And it's just kind of a slow zoom. Now this guy does bear a pretty striking resemblance to the stock character Kevin, but I'm not terribly worried about that because it's going to be so stylized that won't be an issue. But I do think I'd like to add a little bit more detail in here. The plant decor is kind of on the sparse side. That actually may work better that way. You see how there's some stones back there and stuff, and I feel like we could add just a little bit more variety to the backdrop. So first things first is let's go to our cameras and to the animation view, and let's see. Kind of in a weird situation where the setup is part of the frames that we're looking at here, and we don't necessarily want that. So we've got, looks like the action starts here at frame 100. So we should set the starting frame to 100. Just so we're not rendering, you know, that nonsense. Okay. So there's that shot in that angle, and the sky, I'm going to basically leave it like this, which is there's nothing there. that means that's going to render as alpha channel. So I'll be able to bring in some kind of an image for the sky that's going to be a little bit better look than the native skies here in this. So there's that. His movement is okay. But I feel like that we could do a little bit more stuff in the background here, I think. And then the other camera, let's see. That's our camera front. We should lock it so we don't accidentally mess it up. Okay. And then our other camera, let's lock that as well. And let's take a look from behind. If we go to 100. And let's do this. Let's go into the project settings and set the project length to something a little lower, so we're not dealing with all this extra space here. There we go. All right, and this is the shot from behind. I do like this grass in the foreground. The water looks pretty good from this angle. There's at least a little bit of reflection and movement on the water surface. I like that. It turned out all right. Hey, Corantz. Last night you watched a British TV movie from 1984 called Threads. It's the kind of film that makes you want to curl up in a ball full of dread and despair. Threads. I've not heard of that one, but I will take your review under advisement and probably not go out of my way to see it, if that makes sense. And then you're saying James Cameron did some AI upscaling when he re-released some of his films, huh? Now that, of course, is the method that I used for some of my stuff, but with me you could at least understand where I would resort to the cheapskate method. You would think he's got a little bit more sophisticated resources at his disposal than that. Or is your objection to him using that because of the fact that it's AI and you're not happy with that? Or is it more of just that it seems lazy? All right, so this is pretty good. I'm not certain that anything needs to be added here. Although it looks like the lighting is changing, doesn't it? It's kind of bluer light here, and then it goes a little bit warmer. So let's check out our lights here. Did we keyframe something with one of these lights? There we go. The backlight changes here, and we don't want that. We want that to come right here. There we go. That looks right. We've got a little bit of wind, so we've got some movement on the trees. That's good. You know what I think I want to do? I think I want to render out a test frame here. The proof will be in the pudding here. Do we need more detail in this scene or not? We're gonna test that by looking at what, just something similar to what the final product is going to look like. You believe AI can be used effectively depending on the circumstances? But the way James Cameron and his crew have implemented it makes the presentation look unappealingly waxy and smoothed out. Yeah, that's a real challenge with that rendering, I've found. I assumed that the reason I would run into that is, and forgive me, I'm just going to turn off my webcam here because it still likes to wig out when I'm moving around in iClone. I've put in a support request to the maker of the camera to ask them if they got any tips on that. But yeah, when I ran some of the stuff that I was upscaling for myself and for some others, that's kind of the way it, without any tweaking, that's the way it does look. Now, probably the kind of work that I was upscaling is a little bit more forgiving of that because it's Machinima, because it's animated, so it's footage from video games, or it's animated stuff like this. That's going to be a little bit more forgiving to that AI upscaling artifact. But with, yeah, like True Lies, like you mentioned, I mean, that's massive, real footage. Yeah, I'll bet that wouldn't by default do very well at all. Wonder what his motive was to do it in the first place. I mean, I've watched some of those older films not too long ago, and I wasn't put off by the quality of them. I don't think I was watching the upscaled one. I think I was watching the original. They still look fine. You have any idea what size he was upscaling things to? All right, we're just going to render an image here. We'll go ahead and do 4K and export. And let's go in here to Project Louise. I'm going to make a folder called Test Renders. And this one is Guy Look Sun. Wanting to make his older films have a more modern look. Yeah, I guess I understand. I guess I understand the underlying motivation, right? George Lucas is kind of the one who pioneered the way on that. Of course, he wasn't using AI, but like when he reissued the Star Wars films, and of course couldn't help himself but tinker and add additional effects and all that, and in a lot of ways it went way too far. But there was certainly more work involved with that than his. I feel like that what Lucasfilm did with the Star Wars films was more of a true remaster, right? Whereas AI upscaling by comparison is just image processing, really. Okay, where did iClone? Did I close iClone? Why did I do that? All right, we'll open it up again. So that's Guy Looks Sun. Now we're going to try it with Guy Walk Road. I think what we'll do is we'll iterate through these real quick. If we see any, if it's questionable whether the level of detail is okay, then we're going to do a test render and see how it pans out. And if there's obvious problems where it looks unfinished or incomplete or whatever, then we'll go ahead and remedy that when we run into them. We're just going through all the scenes of this film one at a time. All right, unsaved project data. So did iClone crash, I wonder? Maybe we should open that again. What was it called? Guy Looks Sun. No, it's saved. It's saved. Okay. All right, so we want to open up Guy Walk Road. Okay. My only question is, what is that up there showing a grid? I'm not sure what that is. Let's find out. Go to scene. It's not the pathway. Got lots of, we got rocks, we got a whole bunch of different trees and bushes. Japanese maples. Rough grass, wind. Is it the sky? Excuse me. So something is showing grid there. I don't remember doing that on purpose. Let's see if we can figure out what that is. We're going to zoom way out here. Oh, maybe it's just the setting of showing the grid. We do that under preferences? No. Snap to grid. Camera view. Bear with me while I track this down here. I don't know why that grid is showing up. It looks like it's the default grid that shows up just in iClone to show you where things are. We don't want that. Project settings. Because that wasn't showing up on the previous project. That is odd. It's not under project settings. It must be under preferences. Gamepad, MIDI, viewport. Transform gizmo is good. There's snap to. Actor group. Oh, show grid. Okay. I must have turned that on for some reason in here. Weird. Alright, so there's camera 1. And our project length here is how much? That's fit to window. So project length on this one is about 2100 frames. So let's set the actual project to 2500. And then if we change this here to fit to window, all right, now we've got the whole scene. All right, there's our guy walking. His shadow is showing up okay, I think. It's a little off. Or is it? It's not really going to matter with the type of render we're going to do. However, let's select our guy. And yeah, our actual start frame is going to be frame 100, so we'll select that. And let's see what the end of this shot would be. so that's where he stops. So we could have this be the end frame. There's the button. All right. Hey, Phil, welcome. So it's a windy day. I think the level of detail on this, if you factor in what's actually visible here, is not bad, but we want to catch a frame that we can render out for a test. All right. So again, current frame, 3x3. The only thing I want to do is let's keep it consistent. The other one we rendered without the sky, with the thought that we would add that in later. So let's go ahead and nix the sky on this one too. All right, let's render ourselves a frame. This one is Guy Walk Road. All right, so there's our second test frame. We'll save this project. All right, the next one is Guy Look Photo. Now this one, if I remember right, is fairly unfinished. But I think mainly it's because I didn't do any of the animation for it yet. And my gut is we could use a little more detail outside in the way of grass. Yeah. All right, first let's trim our project like we've been doing. So, oh, we can't really trim the project because we don't know how long the animation is yet. All right, so we won't worry about that yet. He's just a pose. All right, wind is on the trees. American Graffiti, I'm sure that I have, but it's been a long time. I have been on an old movie kick lately. And it's quite a bit older than American Graffiti. Phil, I actually hold you responsible for this because Forbidden Planet was the first on my list. I thought sure that I must have seen it after seeing your production, but then I started watching it. It's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this, and it's so good. It's so good. Leslie Nielsen, man, I have never seen anything of him pre whatever that funny police serial that he was in. I want to say maybe in the 60s. Not Get Smart, but the other one. Oh god, it's so stupid that I can't remember the name of it. But was it just called Police Squad or The Files of Police Squad or something? It's kind of the precursor to kind of a precursor to Naked Gun. Oh gosh, I can't remember what that show was, but my father loved it, and I enjoyed watching it as well. Anyway, I hadn't seen anything of him before that, and this is a good decade before I think he did any of that stuff. So yeah, he was amazing, and then holy cow, Anne Francis. Wowzers. What a woman. So, and what's funny about this movie is made in the 50s, right? But it was like, for its time, so salacious. Like the whole scene where when they first lay eyes on her, and they're just they're just openly making these comments on her in front of her father, like just shamelessly, just, you know, like if they were cartoons, the tongues hanging out and the eyes, wooga, kind of moment is so funny. Like it would be unusual to see that. Just so straightforward a talk. I haven't watched anything from that decade in so long that I'd forgotten. So anyway, I loved that. I caught it on Tubi. And then that sent me down a rabbit hole of they've got so many classic movies on there. So a couple nights ago, I watched The Postman Always Rings Twice. I had never seen that. Not the Jack Nicholson one, but the... because I think they remade that with Jack Nicholson a couple decades later, but this is the original with Lana Turner. Very unusual movie, very unusual structure of the story. Like, it doesn't seem to follow any of the normal formulas. So interesting. And then last night I watched one of the few Hitchcock movies that I have not seen, and it was Dial M for Murder, which is a classic, right? But I just realized I've never watched that. And that has Grace Kelly in her prime, and Ray Milland, who the earliest I remember seeing Ray Milland was, I'm pretty sure he was one of the criminals that went head-to-head with Columbo in the early series of that show. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember if he was the murderer. I think he was. But just this wonderfully stuffy British guy, you know, very arrogant, of course, like all of them are on Columbo. So I remember from that, and this is him in his prime. And it's just a great story. The story's been remade. Dial M for Murder has been remade at least once. I don't know if they always used that title, but there's a movie with Michael Douglas. I think it might be called A Perfect Murder. Wasn't it him and... I don't remember who the female lead was in that. Maybe Gwyneth Paltrow or someone. But it feels a lot like that story where this husband tries to... That's right. Viggo Mortensen was the patsy that was brought in, and just a wonderful, wonderful. I mean, it's Hitchcock. You know, what else do you want? So yeah, I watched that last night, and I've got like a whole bunch more in my queue. My wife goes to bed a lot earlier than I always has, and so a lot of times that I'm a night owl very much. So when the house is quiet, everyone's asleep, it's either work on Machinima stuff or maybe play games. But past several nights, yeah, it's been watch some oldies but goodies. Very much enjoying that. Okay, let's get our mini viewport open here. We never did really add any grass here, and I feel like that would befit the scene. Oh, Milan did a few schlock horror movies in later life. I'm not aware of that. When I Googled because I composed a tweet, you know, talking about these movies that I've been watching and stuff last night, and I couldn't remember his name for a moment, so I Googled the movie, and one of the first results that came up was like somebody, probably on Reddit, I don't remember, but talking about how the first thing you needed to understand about Ray Milland is he's not a very good actor. I'm just like, okay. Okay. I didn't know that was important enough to take a position on, but I don't know. He seems to do a fine job to me. I like him. Maybe he just doesn't have a lot of variety in what he brings to the screen. I don't know, but some actors are that way, you know. They bring their thing. I like him a lot too. Okay, we need grass. I think those are under props. Oh, here we go. We can, no, it's under set. Is that the ones? Yeah. All right, so let's use a little of this. Cannot load invalid data. Well, it did load. It's not highly visible. Oh, what did I do? I rotated myself right out of there, didn't I? Let's home in here again. Huh. Doesn't seem to have loaded. Let's try this again. Cannot load invalid data. What's it talking about? Okay. Let's save this and we're gonna relaunch iClone. Hard to imagine I'd have a memory issue at this point. I've got more memory than my first several computers had in hard drives combined. Not really noticing much difference, to be honest. I had 32 gigs of RAM and it was motoring along just fine. It didn't fix the webcam issue. And I still need to, you know, restart the computer about as often as normal to refresh things. So it was a nice thought to just throw more memory at it, but I'm not really sold that it... If there's a benefit, which there probably is, but I'm not seeing it. All right, let's see what's going on here. It sure looks like it loaded some grass in there. Isn't that what this is? Yeah. It did. So why isn't that showing up in my tree here? That's really weird. Let's try dragging them in again, see what happens. Let's try something different just to... Cannot load invalid data. I have not seen that before. And yet it loaded. And it's selected over here. It's selected and yet... And yet it's not selected. How weird is that? I don't think I've ever run into that before. Okay, if we just hide this and hide this. I mean, there it is, clear as day. That is very odd. Can't select it anymore. Probably means I won't be able to get rid of it either. Other stuff's selectable just fine. Huh. Very odd. Alright, if we go back to camera 1. Yeah, there's that goofy flower. That is quite strange. I'm just going to peek at my settings here and see what's going on. Yeah, we're not using anywhere near. We're only using about 1/5 of the available RAM. Everything looks normal. All right, so if I'm going to try this one more time here, but let's try some kind of a normal prop, like not a plant, and see if we can drag that in here somewhere. How about just a rock? Let's just try dragging a rock right here. It works. Okay. I'm doing some levels of undo here. All those show and hides that I did. Okay, now the flower's gone. Very strange. Yeah, no problem, Phil. Okay. Let's exit this again. Let's close CC4. We don't need it open right now. And we'll reopen this. Alright, so it's possible there might be something corrupt with that iClone project file, which would be a bummer, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. But we're going to try a different project. Okay. The detail on this one is satisfactory. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Missed the mute button. Okay, so we're going to hide the sky on this one as well. And let's try a render of one frame from this as well. I don't think there's any animation. There's not. Okay. So we'll just do one frame here. And this one is called Guy Packing. You know, it just occurred to me, the only thing that's different between the last time that I tried to use this project and did grass and stuff, I was on iClone 8.42 or whatever. And I have since upgraded to iClone 8.5. I don't know if that's relevant or not, but something for us to keep in mind. So we're going to go into the preview mode here. Let's see if we have any better time dragging in grass here. It's a very awkward house prop. All right, so let's go to our content and set and grass. And let's try dragging in grass. Okay, cannot load invalid data. Let's see. If something here needs updating. All right, motion director has an update. I don't see anything related to plants. Okay. Very curious about this now. So let's do a new project. We won't save that. And if we go into grass and we try and drag it onto a brand new project, cannot load invalid data. I think we've found a bug with iClone 8.5. Or with these assets that they need some kind of updating. Scenes and effects. All right, so we're going to update what's available to update here, but I don't see how that's going to affect plants. But you notice, this is a brand new project. There's nothing else in here. And we dragged that grass onto the scene, but it doesn't show up in the scene list anymore. At all. It doesn't show up here. And it's not selectable. So let's see what else is affected by that. How about trees? Okay, trees work fine. And can we do start gardening? Well, first let's make sure they show up in the list. Yeah, there's the cedar. If we say start gardening and we want to plant a bunch of trees, over a large area. Yeah. We got no trouble there. However, if we go to grass, Let's try something we haven't tried before. Drag that in. We get cannot load invalid data. And it does not show up in the tree. This is a brand new project. Oh wow, and even undo doesn't remove it. Wow. That's pretty serious stuff. I'm glad I didn't try that too many times in my real project. Is it true for all the items under grass? Yeah, seems to be. Doesn't show up in the scene. But trees are fine. Okay. Particles, I don't have any reason to think that would be affected, but we could try something weird here. Nah, it's there. Terrain. Terrain shows up. Yeah, I think it is a bug. Just trying to explore the extent of it. Yeah, I think it's mainly the grass. It's pretty much everything in the grass category here. It gives this message. All right, we better screen cap this, huh? If we're gonna report it. Oh, where to go? What's going on? The snipping tool doesn't want to work. All right, can we still do, is it control print screen? Or control shift function print screen? Oh, there's the thing. Okay, it was just getting pushed to the background because that dialogue is so dominant. All right. Bear with me for just a second, and as such, we're going to get to use our brake mechanism here. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so you're getting the same error. So here's what I'm wondering about is if we were to... The project that I loaded the grass into, I think it was this one. Since they don't show up in the asset list, is that grass still going to be there? Or maybe I didn't even save this. Now this is the wrong one. It's going to be guy look photo. That's the one. I did save this with one weird piece of grass. And yes, so I saved it after dragging this one unselectable piece of grass. Alright, so even after saving and then closing the program, reopening the project, whatever, it's not in the list anywhere here. It's not selectable, but it's there. So that's worth noting. Now what's weird is I did that snip thing, but I don't know. Maybe I'm doing too much on the computer at once. The snipping tool, I tried to grab that dialogue that pops up, and then I don't know where the snipping tool went at that point. Where did it go? Yeah, it didn't save it. That's fine. I'll capture it later and then report it to support. So, no grass today. No grass today. So, let's continue looking through these here. We've looked at walk road, look photo, guy packing. All right, so let's take a look at journey 1. Okay. I like that. We're going to hide our sky. We'll have him be like so. And let's just capture our frame. There we go. This one's called Guide Journey 1. 1. Okay. Guide Journey 2. I'm trying this as an experiment. Like a lot of times on previous projects, I would try to fit several. I would try to do several scenes in one project file. Now with big terrains like this, that obviously doesn't make any sense to do that. I don't know, I guess you'd hide one terrain and show the other and stuff, but it just makes the file too big. But I decided this time that basically one scene per project file, just to kind of see how viable is that to keep track of everything and all that. The jury's still out on that. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It feels a little bit more challenging to keep organized when I've got it split up like that. All right, so there's this guy. We want to hide the sky because we're going to do an artificial sky. And then render one frame, good quality. This is Guy Journey 2. All right, and finally, Sky Journey 3. I say finally, but that's not the last one. Alright, this is the big desert scene. That seems like an okay shot. Wow, I like the sky in this one. Mainly because of what this glow does here. So if we... the fog effect, I should say. If we hide the sky, we're going to lose most of that. But for the sake of these tests, I'm going to go ahead and... I kind of like how that also de-emphasizes some of the pointiness of this jaggy terrain, but for the sake of consistency, we'll render without sky again. Okay, so render a frame, and this is Sky Journey 3. All right, and then segue course 2. This is approaching border of new land. Okay, where's Guy land? That's just, that must have been the first project. Yeah. So let's see what the segue and course 2 project looks like. Should be when the two of them are, yeah, they're meeting. Okay, so I didn't do any animation here yet. So let's at least get her in the frame. Let's just shuffle this a little bit over so that we got the contrast of her against the sky, and then we need our Guy in the frame for our test as well. So Guy, let's go to preview camera, let's bring him over. Now from this camera, okay. Get him against the sky as well. All right, but we're going to hide the sky and then render one frame image current frame. And I must have done a test out of this one at low res at some point. We don't need depth of field right now. We don't want to include the glow. Okay, and export. And this is segue. Okay, now one thing that I'm curious about, and let's just pick which one we're going to do this for. The Guy Journey one. Is that the one that we had quite a bit of grass in the foreground? Okay, yes. So this one I've already planted some of those grass things. So this is what I want to test. We're going to save this as an extra copy. Right here. What I'm curious about is, we know that we can't currently with this bug add new grass. But if we select an existing grass and we do start gardening. Ho-ho! Okay. So that made it just crash when it tried to launch into the gardening replication thing. And it seems to be specifically grasses, but we're going to try one more thing, and that is the gardening. Well, we already tried gardening with trees, so this should work, but I would just to satisfy, I want to try that same thing with an existing tree that was planted in 8.4. Can we garden with that tree? And then we'll basically, no, we don't need unsaved. Let's load up this test project again. By the way, interestingly, I did not save that project, but it does have an updated timestamp on it. This test project? Oh, wait a minute. No, maybe that's from when I actually did save it. Never mind. I'm stupid. Okay, so if we select a tree and click Start Gardening, works just fine. Let's just confirm here. If we select a grass and we say Start Gardening, oh, how about that? Now it's working. But if we select this grass, Start Gardening, okay. How in the world? Why is it working now? It shouldn't be working. What? Okay, so there's no conceivable way that we fixed the bug by making iClone crash, right? That doesn't make any sense at all. So if we go and try and do a new grass. Okay. So it plants it, but now you're stuck with it. So maybe that's the new way is it's maybe that's the new way that grass is being handled is once you plant it, you better like it. Because you now have it forever. There is no undo. Or is there? No. Undo doesn't even apply. If I undo, nothing's happening. In fact, the undo stack behind this seems to be gone. So we've just locked in. Wow. Ah, the new Google streaming device. You told me about this about a week ago, Karantz, or maybe 2 weeks ago, that their new Chromecast competitor is coming. So it's out now, huh? And it's a successor to the Chromecast. Okay. But if they call it a streamer, does that mean it's more along the lines of like a Roku type operating system on it or something? I liked the Chromecast. I didn't really ever find a practical use for it on a regular basis, but I liked it. However, it was not something I ever felt comfortable recommending to, let's say, someone like my dad or something. Somebody who's not into IT and gadgets and stuff like that. It never really felt like it was inexperienced and user friendly. Am I wrong about that? That's just my feeling on it. Is it's a good device for someone like me and you who's more educated with this kind of stuff, but for the general public, I never felt like Chromecast succeeded in that realm. Whereas Roku, kind of did everything they could to make theirs really stupid simple, to where they could just sell it retail and someone could take it home and it walks you through how to set it up, and you create your account, and boom, you're good to go. So maybe this is Google moving more in that direction, which if so, pretty smart. These devices are really cheap to make, from what I understand. All right, so we're gonna do just the ultimate lame thing here, and that is we're just gonna go grab a sky from Wikimedia Commons. And it doesn't really matter what the license is on it because we're not doing anything with it permanent. So let's grab the full resolution and bring it on over here. Now for our real film here, we're going to be a bit more selective, and we're going to get something really high res so that we can kind of keyframe a scrolling on it and stuff like that, and do all of that in our video editor, and then we're going to do the post-production. But we just need to get something that will function for our post-production tests here. Okay, so these images are all 3840 by 2160. And this isn't quite... To make it easy, we should resize this image so that it's 2160 high. I'll show you why here in a second. It's going to make it pretty big, but that's fine. Okay, then what we can do is go around to each of these and paste as a new layer, and then drag the layer to the bottom. This is super, super lazy, but again, it's for testing. All right, and same thing here. And same thing here. And here. And here. Okay. Boy, that one looks crappy. The fog effect really did add a lot there, so I may have to rethink the final approach on skies to factor in the benefit of that. We got one more here. So paste as layer and drag it to the bottom. Okay, so let me just pull up my notes for what the steps are to render this, or to apply the post-production stuff. Where did I save that? I may have saved it on Milanote. Let me check. Milanote is kind of like Evernote in the cloud, or Microsoft OneNote, or whatever. Milanote's a little bit more visual than, well, Evernote they kind of let that product die on the vine, really. Okay, come on. Where have I put that? I know I think I saved something here as a script under... Yeah, something like that. So if we merge all the layers, let's see if this script is complete. feel like I did more to it than that. To kind of darken it up. All right, stick with me for a moment. Let me find what I'm looking for. Where would that be? Okay. Stay with me here. We're going to I have them like all in a nice, neat little text file. And now I can't remember where I put it. So we're going to load up Dropbox in the cloud and search for it there. Of course, that means that I have to remember what I named it, but I've got a pretty good idea on that. There we go. Okay. So here's what we got. Okay, so let's undo that script and we'll do these one step at a time here. So we've got effects and art media. No, that's the colored pencil or the painted one. We want effects, edge effects, find all. Okay, so that's the only step that's saved in the script so far. Then we did brightness, contrast, and we used values of -60 and 35. Okay. Then we said possible sepia toning, about 30 or 40. Yeah. Let's just split the difference, 35. Okay. Then art media effects, colored pencil, detail 90, opacity 30. Perhaps vignette. See why the value of scripting this would be? That you can basically record it like a macro. And then, because I'm going to have to do it as a script, because then you can batch apply it to like thousands of images. And it'll just take its time and process them all. That's how you do frame at a time, stuff like this. Okay, so vignette, rectangular, 1/2 centimeter border. Okay. I wonder how I measured that it's 1/2 centimeter border. I guess I was just eyeballing it. That's kooky. The cool thing is that once you apply this, it will remember the setting, even for a script. Okay. Feather edge 30, diffuse glow 0, dark light 88, blur 0. Okay. So that is pencil guide. Now, of course, this will be animated and stuff will move, but that is the effect that will be applied to all of his stuff. So what we could do is flatten this out, and let's actually record the script right now. So if we go to script and start recording, then we're going to go to effects, edge effects, find all, then brightness contrast, -60 and 35. Okay. Then we liked the sepia toning, 35. Okay. Then art media effects, colored pencil. Detail 90, opacity 30. And finally, vignette. That's a photo effect vignette, and it remembers all our settings. Does it? Okay, so that's the iffy part, is vignette, because it relies on positioning of this. How well is that going to work? We're going to find out. Because it doesn't show us numeric values for this, which sucks. Alright, but vignette's not terribly important because I can always vignette in video post. Okay. So now, if we go to File, Script, Save Recording, and we're going to call this one Pencil Guy with Vignette, in case I want to do that. Save dialog positions. Yes. Save. Now, if we go here and we merge all flatten, let's just do that for all these real quick. Merge all flatten. Merge all flatten. Merge all flatten. And merge all flatten. Now we can go to each of these and we can run that script. We want pencil guy with vignette. Okay. And run. Yeah. Run. Okay. And finally, this one we're going to copy. Let's paste a new copy here because doing something a little different with one of these. Okay, so we run the script. All right, but on this copy, we're going to run the other script that we did, which is crayon brushstrokes. Wow, that takes quite a bit longer to execute. Okay. So now we can take this one, copy, paste it as a new layer. And then let's take like so. Boom. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the idea. Okay. So the net result here is the first half of this film. We don't need that one anymore. Is all right, so our guy looking at the sun here. And then he's walking home. He packs his things. Again, this is the world that he lives in. Oh, there was another, there was one with the look at photo. Did we not bring that over? I guess we didn't do that, but there's one of the project files had him standing by a table, and we'd called it Guy Look Photo. He's going to have a photo of him and the girl. That photo is going to be in color, like in the color scheme of her render, but in his world. So there'll be a little bit of trickiness there to get that to work, but I know how to do it. I just, got to execute it right. But, he has met her before at some point in the past and is now decided to it's time to set off into the world, on his adventure and, and to go be where she is in this different place. So after he packs up, he'll have a backpack on in these shots, but he makes the journey across various areas. And again, yeah, see, that would look so much better if there was a bit of a fade up from the ground and stuff. So I'll have to rethink how I'm going to do the skies. This is a beautiful sky picture, and it renders through this not very impressively at all. So it may not, if my thinking there was, well, I'll get a better quality sky, look, it's not going to matter. So I should probably just plan on using skies built in. All right, and then there comes like the pivotal scene where his world overlaps, intersects with hers, and it's going to be a shot similar to this. And then he'll step over into her world. He will still maintain his pencil rendering, but then he walks off kind of into the sunset or whatever with her in this world that's like this brushstrokes, colorful world. That's it. And there's music that goes with it that's just instrumental. Yeah, this is an idea for a short that I've had since when I conceived of it. I thought of doing it in The Sims, and the post-production process was very similar, but ultimately I just got so frustrated with getting The Sims to, not behave like cartoonish goobers that I abandoned it and thought that I would never return to it. But welcome to iClone. So yeah, that's as I go back and start, tweak these scenes and stuff like that, it's a matter of, I'm going to be looking at it through a lens of, all right, what actually makes it through and shows up here? Like, this is too barren, if you ask me. It needs to be some dry grass or something in the foreground and maybe some different types of rocks or whatever. And the sky, again, that renders horribly. There's no reason not to use the skies in iClone. So I'm glad we did this so I could at least learn that. And there's some animation to do, some just basic stuff where he's packing, but I'm not going to be doing anything crazy where, trying to get it to look like he's putting stuff into the backpack. because I'm not a crazy person. That would be nuts and also just not necessary. So, but I think with the, I've done some tests where there's actual motion with this filter, and it looks really cool when there is motion going on. So, but there's areas where I'll have to be mindful of, you know, when this is color, the contrast is very noteworthy, but when it gets rendered like this, it's not so much. So I'm going to have to be mindful of that with the lighting, and there'll be some back and forth of tweaking to get this to where it maintains its not visibility, but coherence of image once it's been kind of pulverized through this weird effect. You know, here flat works well. It just looks, you know, stupid with this jagged line here, but I think with the fog effect on, that would ameliorate a lot of that. So yeah, when it's in motion, these things, they end up looking really, I don't know. I really, it's the look that I wanted to have, right? So, and most likely the thumbnail will be something like this, the moment of their meeting, and it'll show both sides. So yeah. Now, in order to finish these scenes, one of the primary things that's needed is grass. And, you know, right now, grass's ass is grass, I guess is how you would say it. There's no, not going to be any planting right now for that. So, yeah, as such, I don't see any point in working on building those scenes right now. Doesn't make much sense. I need the grass. Ist verboten, that's right. That's right. So we're not going to save these. We'll save them in their original color form. No. No. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, that is that for iClone. I think what we'll do is let's take a quick peek at our fallout shelter and see how our settlers are doing. All right, enter Vault 999. That's what we want. Oh, that thumbs up, I believe, means that these two folks got down. So she's going to be expecting now, I believe. Or maybe they're... I don't know. She doesn't look like she's expecting, so I'm not sure what the thumbs up was for. But anyway, everybody seems fine. We don't, really are not at a point where we need to send anybody off into the wild at this point. They just get overwhelmed. Let's see what our achievements are. We want to level somebody up, and we'll get one of the lunch boxes. Successfully rush a room. We could try that. Basically, you can... These rooms produce the resources up here at the top. You need power, you need food, and you need water. And you can do a rush button here that asks, you know, this tells you how long until they naturally are going to produce this stuff, but you could tell them to rush. If they succeed, then you get kind of a little bonus and you get the resource right away. If you fail, then like the room bursts into flame. So yeah, there's that. So this is a new guy. Timothy Sutton, but what did we call the other ones? We called him like Future Viewer 2. Oh yeah, They're that means that they're happy and they're getting ready to well, you know. So this is the other way that new settlers come, and that is that they show up here. So this, we call this future viewer. So we're going to call this guy future viewer 3. That's right, they're getting jiggy with it. Oh, that thumbs up means what? Oh, yeah, there they go. They're going to woohoo, I believe is the Sims term for it. So we're going to put this guy to work in the power plant. Yeah, something's going on back there. Their happiness levels just went up very high. You can tell. Oh, that was you. Was that you? It was. Phil, don't say I never did anything for you, man. Yeah. Okay. We can expand some rooms here, I think. What can we do? Oh, we leveled up a dweller. That's cool. So we'll have a lunchbox to open. But I would like to see, can we add more onto the diner? Yes, we can. There we go. So now, Phil can go to work in the diner, and you know what? You don't work, you don't eat. So, yeah, you get back to work as well. That's how we roll here. Why isn't she going? There we go. All right, let's see what's in our bonus box here. Sell one weapon or outfit. We don't have any of those, so we'll have to acquire some before we can sell one. All right, let's see what we got. We got some caps. That's good. That's the currency in this world. You pleasured future viewer 2 or 1. We'll check in a second here. There's more caps and a pet. Okay. So where is Biggs? Biggs, we're giving you the pet if you don't mind. You're not allergic to cats or anything, are you? That will give you a 28% boost in XP. Oh, and here's another new person. So let's expand the water treatment. And now we can bring this guy down and pop him right in here. Yeah, future viewer 2. Yeah, we'll just call her future viewer 2. I was gonna, like, you know, say Mrs. Biggs Trek or Biggs Trek's girl or something, but it feels a little weird. I think she's been through enough, don't you? Okay, so that's the adventures of the vault for today. Oh, we're gonna try rushing something, aren't we? To see if we start a fire. So yeah, let's tell these guys, hey, hurry it up. And it tells you, like, okay, you got this much chance of there being disastrous failure. Go for it. Usually the first rush is successful. They kind of bait you that way. And then you get excited with it, and so you try it again, and maybe it's not so successful. So if we go to try now, it says incident 33%. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, let's try rushing here and see what happens. Failed. So, yeah. Now, the cool thing is that women and children, pregnant women, and if there were children, they would go ahead and run to safety from the room. And then once the danger is past, then they come here. So the game is at least merciful in that way. All right, we've got another new guy. We haven't been naming these new guys, have we? No, Timothy Cook, that's not going to do it all. Future viewer 4, I believe, and this means this is Todd Peters, future viewer 5. Corrance, if you're still here, you're in here as well. Yeah, that's my thinking too, is that if I need to kind of behave like an adult human here and not do anything that's going to get either of our wives upset with us. So, you know, if anyone asks, you did what you had to do for your country, and you know, it's part of saving the world. All right, so yeah. What else we got here? Oh, we get one more lunchbox, and then we're signing off. So, no, we do not want to buy anything. Bethesda. Typical. Food. Animal hide. That was worth all that flourish? Really? I thought it was like going to be like a superhero or something. Okay, we've got an outfit. That's good. And a parrot. 24% damage resistance. Guess what? Since you not terribly excited about cats, this is a much better perk here. So we're giving you the pirate parrot. That just seems right. And we're giving you an outfit as well. I've never heard of an outfit that actually boosts your intelligence, but this one does. So there you go. So that means, where's Corrance? There we go. Corrance is going to get the cat. All right. Well, stay tuned for... Yeah. Is that... I think it comes with the outfit. It says sci-fi fan outfit. Let's confirm if that's true. Yeah. That's epic. They have cosplay in this. I had no idea. Well, all right. That's going to wrap it up for me today. I'll be back on Thursday. We'll be reporting the finding about iClone to Reallusion support and see what can be done about it. And we'll do our best to not let that hang up our progress. In fact, I'll probably plan something for Thursday that doesn't involve planting grass, just to be safe. And anyway, have a good rest of your day and evening, and we'll see you next time. We can get out of here now. The mouse, like, I can't even get out of the window because of the mouse. All right. All right, ciao, Phil. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.